I'm Myra, and at 32 years old, I finally learned that silence isn't loyalty, it's self-erasure. Last week, my mother stood at my sister's rehearsal, dinner, and told 80 guests I wasn't her real daughter. She smiled while announcing they were paying for the entire wedding with money I'd secretly been giving them for a decade. Every eye in that elegant country club turned to stare at me. I felt their pity, heard their whispers, felt the weight of public humiliation, but I smiled back. Because I knew something they DIDN single quotes T dot the invisible decade 10 years ago. My father called at 11 p.m. His voice was trembling, something I never heard before. He'd lost his job. Their retirement fund had collapsed from bad investments. They were 3 months behind on the mortgage. "You're the only one who can help," my mother said the next day. "Chloe's still in school. And Mira, no one can know. We can't have people thinking this family is struggling." I was making $52,000 a year with $800 left after expenses. They needed $2,500 monthly. I said yes anyway. For 10 years. I transferred over $336,000. I worked 60-hour weeks, climbed from junior accountant to CFO, and lived in the same studio apartment for 7 years. No vacations, no savings. I wore the same interview suit until the elbows wore thin. Meanwhile, Chloe got a new car, a down payment on her apartment, designer clothes, and catered birthday parties with champagne. My birthdays? Sometimes a card. Sometimes nothing. "You're always so busy with work," Mom would say. "We don't want to bother you." I wasn't invited to most family gatherings. I'd become invisible while funding their lifestyle. The breaking point when Chloe got engaged to Brad, a lawyer from old money, my parents announced an $80,000 wedding. "We're paying for everything," Mom gushed. She deserves a fairy tale. 3 years of my transfers. My money. And they'd tell everyone they'd saved for it themselves. When I asked where the money was coming from, Mom's voice turned cold. "We've worked hard our whole lives. We're allowed to celebrate our daughter's wedding." "Which daughter?" I asked. She hung up. I contacted Marcus Webb, our family's financial advisor for 15 years. He confirmed what I knew. The fund held $280,000, almost entirely from my contributions. They'd just withdrawn $60,000 for the wedding. I also had an unexpected ally, Aunt Patricia, Mom's older sister who'd watched me fade into the background for years. "I see you," she told me. "I've always seen you. And whatever happens up at dinner, I'll be in your corner." I backed up 120 months of bank transfer confirmations to 3 cloud services. Then I prepared to attend the rehearsal dinner. 3 words. That changed everything. The Riverside Country Club glittered with crystal chandeliers and imported flowers. My father stood to give a toast about how proud they were of their daughter Chloe, their real daughter, and how they'd saved their whole lives to pay for everything. Then Mom looked directly at me. "We're paying for everything because our real daughter deserves it." Unlike some people, 80 heads turned. The whispers started. The pity pressed against me. I smiled. Then I stood up. "Actually, I'd like to add something to that toast." The room went silent. I turned to Marcus Webb at the bar. "Mr. Webb, you've been our family's financial advisor for 15 years. In the past 10 years, who's been the primary contributor to my parents' retirement fund?" Marcus straightened his shoulders. "Everyone deserves to know the truth." He confirmed it. $336,000 over 10 years. Monthly transfers. Every single month. The fund consisted almost entirely of my contributions. The gasps rippled through the crowd. "You made it public, Mom," I said calmly. "You called me not your real daughter in front of everyone. I'm simply clarifying where that money actually came from." My father tried to intervene. Aunt Patricia stood up. "Diane, is this true? Has Mira been supporting you for 10 years while you treated her like a stranger?" I raised my glass one final time. "Your real daughter is the one who worked 60-hour weeks while you told everyone she was too busy for family." Your real daughter gave up buying a home so you wouldn't lose yours. Your real daughter kept your secret for a decade and sacrificed her 20s for you. My mother was crying now. But here's the thing about real daughters, Mom, they deserve to be treated like family. And I haven't been, I paused. So I have 3 words for you. I'm stopping payments. My mother's face went white. My father's champagne glass slipped from his fingers and shattered on the floor. Effective immediately. You want to pay for everything? Now you'll actually have to. The aftermath, this story spread through their entire social circle within days. The wedding was scaled down 300 guests became 100. The orchestra became a DJ. Imported flowers became local arrangements. Brad's family quietly covered the difference. Chloe called me, crying. Is my wedding ruined? Then, Myra, do you hate me? No, I told her honestly. I don't hate you. I'm just done pretending everything was fair. My parents had to sell their house and move into a smaller condo. They had to learn to live within their means. The people they'd impressed for years now whispered about them instead. Choosing myself 6 months later, I opened a savings account. For the first time in a decade, my money stayed with me. Daniel and I moved into our first apartment, together paid for with money I'd earned and kept. I got promoted to CFO and actually celebrated it. I started therapy and began unpacking 32 years of feeling invisible. My therapist explained it clearly. Your place in a family shouldn't require payment. I went to Chloe's wedding not for my parents, but for her. When she walked down the aisle, she found my eyes and mouthed, "Thank you." Before I left, my mother asked, "Do you still love us?" "Yes," I said. But I love myself more now. And that means I can't keep being the person who gives everything while getting nothing back. The real lesson: my parents weren't monsters. My father couldn't handle depending on his invisible daughter. So he rewrote the narrative. My support became obligation, not generosity. My mother had grown up believing appearance was everything. Admitting what she'd done would mean admitting. She'd been wrong for 30 years. Understanding isn't the same as forgiving. But it helped me stop asking what I did wrong. The answer was nothing. I was born to people who weren't equipped to love me the way I needed. That was their failure, not mine. For 10 years. I believed that if I just gave enough, sacrificed enough, I could earn my place at the table. I thought being needed was the same as being wanted. It wasn't. If you recognize yourself in my story, here's what I want you to know. You don't have to burn yourself down to keep others warm. Your worth isn't measured by what you sacrifice. Setting boundaries isn't selfish, it's survival. Silence isn't peace. Sometimes it's just a cage you build around yourself, waiting for someone else to unlock the door. They're not going to unlock it. You have to do it yourself. Yes, it will hurt. Walking away from people you love, even when they're hurting you, hurts. Choosing yourself when you've spent your whole life choosing everyone else hurts too, but staying hurts more. I look in the mirror now and finally recognize the person staring back. Not invisible, not forgotten, not the one who gives until there's nothing left. Just Myra, 32 years old, figuring it out. And you know what? That's enough. It was always enough. I just had to stop waiting for someone else to tell me so.